Anyways, what a great start to this episode of All Elite Ensemble.
2 weeks back and it's already a mess. Gotta love it.
Hey, you know what? It was going so well when it was just me and the professor. Now that we have you back, we have to get back to our zany wackiness. Shut it all down. We're good to go. Speaking of shutting things down, I'm still waiting for a certain somebody to show their face on their camera before I bring them in. So let them figure that out.
Get their butts in here. I can't talk about AEW right now without some bald-headed Latino guy. Oh, wait.
I mean, well, okay, let's be more specific. You need the bald ginger Latino guy to be in here.
The extra spicy, yes, I know.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. We're off to a great start. But hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there. And welcome to another rendition of All Elite Ensemble, your weekly AEW review show here on the BC WrestlePod YouTube, Twitch, podcasting network, conglomeration syndicate thing that we pretty much do almost every single day of the week. Hi, and welcome. Of course, I am one of your hosts, Mikey. Joining me this week, back for the second week in a row, which is a miracle in itself. I'm just kidding. Is Mr. I like my Pete Dunn JBL between you and Jesse.
Last week I had the same thing.
I know. Well, I noticed it last week, but between you and Jesse, you all like the food puns, and I'm here for it. You truly.
I'm so happy to be back again, and I'm trying to be here as much as I can. Although I might be giving myself over to a monthly wrestling program, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm just excited because AEW, for all of its faults and losing people left and right, like Ray Fenix today, is still on track for a really good Revolution.
Oh, absolutely, which is this Sunday. So not only will we covering Dynamite and Collision from this past week, we will also be doing our predictions for Revolution with the matches that we have
right time. Oh God,
for reals. But we will be doing our predictions at the very end, and just like our Elimination Chamber predictions, I'm going to send the form and we're going to fill these bad boys out live on the air. So that way everyone knows what they have.
I'm good to get them in so that if I don't get back in the country before Sunday, because I'm going to Canada literally on Thursday for my daughter's birthday, and I don't know with all the stuff going on in the world whether I'll be allowed back in the country. We'll see what happens.
You might do the Revolution review from Canada. It'll be great.
God, is it like a different time in Montreal for that, or I just have to listen to it in French?
I don't know. We'll figure that out. It is I and JVL to review. Professor should be getting his butt in here as soon as he can, so we're going to add him into the mix when he gets in here. So before we get into Dynamite and Collision this week, if you like what you see on your screen, which you should, because we are floundering like fish, but we have a great time here. If you like what you see here, make sure to stay up to with us all in our wackiness and zaniness on the social medias, where not only can you see very fun out of context clips of our reviews, which are really fun to watch in hindsight, and I get people, certain bald men, aka, to be like, I need to use a new microphone. I was like, I'm glad you said it, not me.
I am just, I figured something out in like my time away, not to take it much away from AEW. We're just waiting for the professors to get here. You just like to collect bald men, or like either men with extremely long hair or bald men. There is no in between in our group here at all.
I know way too many white people, apparently, also is what I've been told too. Anyways, speaking of bald white people, our ginger Latino is finally here. Hi, Professor.
I called white man and ran as quickly as I could to the conversation. I was like, I've been summoned to the internet.
Apparently even summoned with your giant halo of light there too.
I didn't calibrate anything. I was just, I'm coming, can't see anything. God.
The whole crew is
Remember when I was the only bald white guy with a bad microphone? Now I have trash. Oh God.
Hey, you're like leagues ahead of everybody else at this point.
I'm using free bus tour headphones because my dog ate them. I'm a mess, man.
Jack in the box.
This is what your body feels like without fiber.
It's your body.
Oh my! I've missed this chaotic trio. I am so glad we are back.
So go, Mikey, go.
So now that the professor is here, follow us on all the social medias. We do out of context clips. We do report cards for the weeklies and the pay-per-views. And, plus, anyways, and plus, we also preview what you can expect from the weekly shows. So thank you, all of the wrestling companies and your social medias for providing those cards to you. Except AEW, I'm going to yell at you later. How come I have to go to Fight TV to get all the good-looking pictures or these slideshows? But anyways, I digress. So let's get into it. We got a lot to cover. Dynamite, Collision, and then Revolution. So let's just jump straight into Dynamite. So this past Dynamite was weird. Like, I still enjoyed it, but it was weird.
I don't want to sound like an old person. I fell asleep, and I don't. I'm not that. I'm usually really good about that. The Will Ospreay match was great, and then at some point I woke up and went, why is Willow murdering her with a chair?
Oh,
and then had to go back. I was embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to say that out loud, but I was like, yeah, this is a weird Dynamite.
I will agree with you.
It's
seeing
the
as I'm back to
millennials in us. It's catching up to everybody.
I'm getting there. I watched the whole thing through, but yeah, you're right. It seemed a little like they were going in 4 different directions, and also again, for me, it just felt like old AEW, where it's like we have no idea what we're doing going into a pay-per-view. We're just gonna throw everything at the wall.
Right, which is we'll discuss that when we get to certain parts. Looking at you, Death Riders. Anyway, so let's get into it. Dynamite opens up where we kind of get this dual thing where we get a kind of MJF appearance as he's getting his double or nothing tattoo lasered off. And so we're watching that while he cuts this promo, which was really weird. And then we coupled that with Hangman Aggro Page also getting into the ring to cut said promo.
Smelled a fart.
And that's exactly what this picture is. Like Hangman Aggro Page. I mean, he cuts the promo we knew he was going to cut against MJF. And then things get crazy because MJF comes out with a bloody towel. And then we get shown up on the Titantron that no longer corporate Christopher Daniels has gotten beat up, which then causes Hangman to go check on him in
the tabernacle.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I have nothing else to say. That's literally what happened.
Yes. Does it look like MJF is in a community theater production of 10 Little Indians?
Good knowledge.
Is he trying to get across that maybe Hercule Poirot is his favorite type of detective? No one knows. But, when you have Christopher Daniels involved, you have to make those Agatha Christie references or else he won't come out.
I feel like I'm in the minority. I like those movies. Anyways.
No, you're not. You're fine. There's something very community theater about AEW's promos since January. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. If they're just trying to, if there's someone coaching them, like, we got to up the theatricality, guys. Like, there's just, even Adam Copeland, which we'll talk about, like, there's just something about, like, you're really laying it on thick, and it's okay to do that, but we're missing some of that. What's a cool word I can use? It's just coming off disingenuous, right? It's not authentic.
Some veracity.
Sure. Yeah. There's just something off, and I'm not quite sure. A lot of the matches have been great this year. So that's what opened the show. We're building towards MJF and Hangman Aggro Page at Revolution this Sunday. That's it. And then I was like, okay, you know what? This is fine.
God, why does he have chest hair?
I'm gonna be honest. I did not need an explanation as to why Brian Keith and Will Ospreay were gonna have a match. We could have just had to have a match.
Look at the aggro face in the back there, too.
Mark Davis is like, this is what I got to put up with.
when you're near Don Fallis, who smells like, an acrid butthole, I mean, you're just going to do that face no matter what happens. Meanwhile, with Chris Jericho, who's been like parting his chest hair like a mustache with I'm assuming around the nipples it's a curl or something. I have no idea.
Strong choice, Cotton. Yeah, it's that Hercule Poirot mustache, and it just kind of comes up and around. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I am a detective. Are you really?
I do not like speaking to you.
This is wild. We did not need this segment. We could have just had, the bounty hunter Brian Keith and Will Ospreay just have a match. We did not need an explanation. But this
was it not? Because Mikey, come on.
The premise around it was stupid of why we're getting this match, but
the premise, fine. The match was really solid. We say this about Will Ospreay. He sort of brings the A game out of everybody, right? But Brian Keith was really good and underutilized for a long time.
Very true. And he is a good technician when he wants to be, but I feel like the weight of the stipulation and the people around it started to drag it down nearer to the end when they were trying to run to the schmozzy finish. That made no sense. Even Will Ospreay couldn't save that for me. It was a little too, like you were saying before, they were trying too much theatricality and too much holding on to a premise versus realizing it's not landing. So let's just cut the bottom out and let the work speak for itself. I don't know. You're muted, so it's okay.
I agree. I kind of forgot about the premise. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's the thing. Oh, okay. So as far as storylines goes, it was useless.
It was about as useful as the fact that Brian Keith had his pants up to his armpits because he's in his costume.
Why is he be doing that old school grandpa thing?
He's probably pregnant.
Oh, he's got to hide it so they don't cancel the show. Sucks.
Talking about having a bounty on board.
For reals. Again, I liked the match. It was great. The premise around it was kind of dumb.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so I'm going to get the professor's thoughts in a little bit, but we get this backstage segment. Billy Starks is just chilling backstage, which, I love. And then we have Mercedes 4 belts. trying to do the Kenny Omega belt collector. And, Mercedes basically treats Billy just like a backstage hand, like fully being aware of who she is, but not acknowledging her. Billy's like, we're just going to wait and see what happens with this. Mercedes keeps running her mouth, which gives Momo Watanabe in the background with her bat time to just walk up. Mercedes gets scared. She drops the TBS championship. And, Billy and Momo just be chilling for this segment.
Not gonna lie, a little upset at how she's treating Billy.
I mean, you're not the only one.
I feel like AEW's not going to do anything with this that's going to be good for Billy. My prodigy. Sorry, Roxanne Perez. My prodigy. Seriously, no, not having this. I'm not having this.
Yeah,
I think they made Billy look stupid.
Yeah.
And that's tough. She's standing there waiting for the cue with the cup, right? Like just there. The cup, it's a coffee cup filled with just water, and she swats it, and Billy just puts it right to her face. Like, just the actor. The acting teacher in me is like,
well, and Billy's used to working with a professional like Athena, whereas, Mercedes just can't seem to do anything right that she's trying to do. Can't give a promo, barely can wrestle at this point. I don't know what's going on with Mercedes, but she is just in general lost whatever spark she had for this business and can't seem to actually do anything except take up space.
I'm going to push back a little bit because, and I think it's mostly, I push back just a little bit, but not really, because I personally think the last 3 matches I've seen Mercedes were pretty solid, but I think that's because of who her dance partners were, to be perfectly honest.
You and I were talking about that, right? We're
the 2 matches with Chris were fantastic.
Yeah, but where was this a year and a half ago, right?
Right? When she debuted at March last year, it took us months to get there, and then it was in a downward spiral because that match against Britt at Wembley was not great. That was my worst match of the whole entire year, which hurt me.
Yeah.
Well, but her feud with Deanna wasn't good. Her feud with Serena Deeb wasn't good. Like, she, in general, that's why I was saying, like, she may still be talented in certain ways. It just seems like she doesn't have the spark in her to actually care. Sure. So this whole promo, part of it was that she wasn't on board with it either and wasn't given anything she had. And yes, she's had decent matches in the last 3 matches, but only because she's either been interested or somebody else has like basically forced her to want to do it. And it doesn't seem like she wants to be there, which is hurting everyone else around her.
I don't know
mad. What? Oh, go ahead, Mikey. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, looking at these belts, I'm still mad that she beat Mina Shirakawa in the Tokyo Dome in January. That's what upsets me the most.
There was a streak there where her heel promos got really solid, and I want to say was right at the peak of CEO, and we were really hopeful. Like, okay, she had something to push against, and everybody else, it was her and the Young Bucks and all the heel factions. This was going back, God,
a year ago, watching at the time.
But then something, I don't want to speak ill of her because she's a professional. She's doing the job. She makes more money than me. I'm just a bald dude on the internet. But there's something missing. If it's the spark for this, if it's not being interested, if it's, I don't know. I'm not sure if she thought all the other women would be raised like we thought she was going to fight for. Something's not quite there. Like,
it doesn't seem like she's getting along with the locker room. And I feel like she's finding it harder and harder to find opponents that want to work with her. Hence why they're bringing Billy up from ROH to do this promo. It's like, no one else can do something, or you've run out of anything else to do?
Right. And I mean, if the plan is true, according to what people are saying, however it is between now and July, if Athena's the one to take the TBS championship from Mercedes, sure. I still think Billy should be champion at this point, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways.
Yeah, we're 2 years too late on that right now.
Yeah. I'm mad because I think Momo is amazing, and as me and Adolfo now cover Stardom, she is fantastic. Her whole entire factions, it just makes me sad, and we'll talk about it during predictions. There's no chance in hell she's walking out as the winner, which makes me upset. Because then I'm like, why are we having this match then?
Because we have to fill to the next one.
I guess. Which is crazy because the next one is Dynasty, which is literally like 4 weeks later. But anyways, Billy, I wish you and Momo were being used better. Mercedes, yeah, you were there.
Los Outrunners.
This is the other thing. I will forever stand the Outrunners. I love them so much. I also love the Murder Machines. I'm still not used to the full head of hair, Brian Cage, but you are such a lovely person. I'm not going to say anything.
That beard is quite glorious.
But okay, this was weird because this was not necessarily told, but this kind of was her number one contendership to Hurt Syndicate, tag team championships, and the winner would get a match against the Hurt Syndicate at Revolution. So on paper, I'm just like, there are 2 ways this is going to go. Outrunners are about to get absolutely destroyed, or shenanigans happen. And I was kind of right on the second part, but it was mostly so. Match itself went the way I thought it was going to. Murder Machine's doing a lot of offense. Outrunners got their spots in, but Murder Machine had it until the Hurt Syndicate's music hits, which causes the distraction, which allows the Outrunners to win and become number one contenders for the Hurt Syndicate's titles, and they get a match against them at Revolution. On the one hand, I'm excited because any more Outrunners on my TV screen, never going to complain. But they're about to get trounced.
It's going to be a squash.
They're going to get squashed.
I can't wait to watch it because it's going to be hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
The Outrunners are perfect to work with them. Like, they're going to be perfect, like amazing beefy meat tacticians and two perfect goof-offs. Who make it look good, like who sell everything and make it look great. Like, I think that's going to be fantastic. I think it's the right choice.
I'm waiting for the mega power handshake they go for with like Bobby Lashley, and he crutches their hand and like.
I thought this was fun. I mean, it's not like it's tag team match of the year. I like seeing more Outrunners. It's fun. The little package they had of them down at, what was that, Omaha? They were in Nebraska for some reason. Like, was hysterical. Like, just elbow dropping trash cans with college kids. Like, that's kind of great. I don't know. That's fun.
I gotta send you the segment when we had the short-lived FT Runners because I thought that faction had potential, but apparently Tony Khan did not think so. But they had a whole entire montage, like dripped in 80s VHS nostalgia with, Outrunners, having FTR train with them. They all get in like mankinis and tan outside. We bleach Dax's mustache for a little bit, which was hilarious. It was such a good segment, and RIP FT Runners. But yeah, so Outrunners get a number one contendership match. They're going to get absolutely trounced at Revolution, but I am going to enjoy that match so much still because they're great.
Lovely.
Prince Nana is tired of Swerve shit. Basically what I got from this.
You gave it away.
I mean, that's the important thing because the back and forth between Swerve and Trevor here, he's such a nerd. I love him.
Professor wasn't here for my rant last week. I don't know if you saw what I was talking about with this.
You ranted about Trevor?
Oh, yeah, because he's not just any Trevor. My name is Trevor. I am a vampire and what?
Why is he strong bad?
He's not strong bad. He's the strong bad email from Trevor the vampire that they got.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, no, Trevor.
Oh my God.
I popped so hard last week, and I'm happy you got to experience that too, Professor. So long.
I'm going to try and find that. Hang on. Talk amongst yourself.
So the back and forth between Trevor here and Swerve was the same thing. Trevor's like, no, I don't want to fight you. But then Prince Nana gets on the mic and says, you know what? I thought you would say that, so let me entice you. If you agree to this match at Revolution, Tony Khan has said that and approved this, that it is a match between the two, which is now a number one contenders match for the AEW World Championship. So Trevor here said, all right, I'm gonna sign it. I'm gonna agree to take the match. And when I beat you, we'll see about that. And then, of course, Trevor goes, as his new thing now. So
that and screw your local sports team. I'm an Eagles fan.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm a vampire and.
Oh, that's all I'm ever going to see, poor guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And like I said, after Trevor goes to the back, Nana gets on the microphone, talks about how important that coat is, and that Swerve needs to get it together because if he cannot, Swerve needs to revisit that dangerous persona that made him, whose house, Swerve's house. And if he can't do that, Prince Nana doesn't know if he could take any more bullets for Swerve. And so this is kind of the ultimatum where, again, Prince Nana is tired of Swerve shit.
We're getting Nana and Trev. It's going to happen.
That's exactly where we're going. Nana is going to start being the manager for Trevor here. So Swerve needs to get it together. Who knows if whose house will get it together?
Trev's house. He is a vampire end.
It's such a funny bit. On paper, this was
so many makeup.
Yeah, on paper, I was excited about this. Don't know if the execution lived up to what I wanted. It wasn't bad. But I will say, spoiler alert, when I saw Adam Cole pinning Daniel Garcia was me as
well. The haircut's the same.
Why was he in Hulk Hogan gear?
I don't know. And that was baffling to me. I'm like,
there are a lot of strange decisions here.
I was like, Daniel Garcia, you are just one color away from hot dog on a stick uniform. Like, what is happening?
Basically,
I was like, was Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange not available? Because that's who's been involved in this.
Right, but obviously we're on Dynamite. They don't work on Dynamite, so why would they have them there?
I mean, that's fair.
I don't know. And plus with Adam Cole and the way it's going, like trying to go for some other, it's when you're fighting a guy that doesn't have usual backup, then it doesn't make any sense to make it a trios match. Just have them at ringside.
For reals. This Daniel Garcia's usual, like, tag team who backs him up. They weren't here. And Daniel Garcia and FTR, I'm sorry, I feel like they don't have any character chemistry together.
They don't.
Again, and it's thrown together. That's what it was. It's thrown together. And Daniel, I feel for you.
He looked like he was the son of whatever DNA got left behind when Kane had that hot dog cart match back in the early 2000s.
Oh.
There was stuff there. So there was definitely some DNA left over somewhere.
So because Adam Cole pinned Daniel Garcia, he got a TNT Championship match for Collision, which we'll cover when we get there. Wheeler Yuta, once again, you proved to be the bane of everybody's existence. Jay White
laughing at his own future in the company where he's not being used.
Oh, it hurts. So we get Death Rider shenanigans, Cope and Jay White and all this stuff. Yuta tries to attack, but the cartoonish get out of the way. Yuta accidentally. Claudio and Marina Shafir go down is how we get to this point. And so Cope, still hate the name, gives them a concerto. Gives them many concertos. And then for some reason, Willow Nightingale comes out and gives Marina a concerto. And and here's where I have to say about this. Love me some Marina, love me some Willow. Why didn't they fight first before we get to this? It was just 2 backstage attacks and then Willow's mad. And so she concertos them. I'm like, but they didn't wrestle.
Well, and a concerto usually is going to take you out of action for X amount of time. It's one of those things to write you off TV. That's why you do it. If this is now a setup move like a DDT, I'll concerto you right before a big match. You'll be fine. Why does you want to kill that off there? It's an extreme move.
I have said it since their formation. I don't know where we're going with this Death Rider story. I have never known where we're going. And honestly, Tony Khan does not know either.
Professor, any input you could give to this?
I really miss Blackpool Combat Club. I really miss the sort of direction and fear and I don't know, pointed nature of that. When I started watching AEW again and reviewing this year, this whole Death Riders thing just it's not hitting. And I think they're all wondering, why is it not working? Why is it not working? It's like, well, you guys don't even care. You just look like, you're part-time security at the Gap. I don't care. Like you're not doing anything scary and edgy like you were. And you're making odd mistakes, which you never made before. I don't know. It's just falling flat for me. Say what?
You know what it reminds me of? The League of Nations in WWE.
Oh, shit. Sure.
This amazing thing with these badass bruisers and technicians. Yeah. They're all foreign heels. And they're the comic foils who just do stupid stuff to get beat up.
Which is such a, McMahon era thing, right? We're going to get these people of color and make them the clowns because it's going to make other fans like them. It's like, whoa, what are we doing?
Meanwhile, it rings true that there's still a lot of people that are ex-WWE, the McMahon group that got absorbed into AEW that still have some pull in their storyline writing, which is not doing them a whole hell of a lot.
And this thing we shared an article in the group chat not too long ago about the psychology of wrestlers who refuse to lose or refuse to pin or refuse to let stories move forward because they have that pseudo PTSD from WWE days and how creative should run. And if I do this, I'm lesser. It's like, well, no. We're never going to get over any of that and get more. We have complex storytelling as it is. Until folks start humbling themselves in the name of promotions, it's going to be really hard to get there. And I think they're a symptom of that.
Yeah. So after this segment, we are down to just Mox and Yuta as the only Death Rider standing. And I'm just like, it's not going to be that simple. Some crap is going to happen at Revolution. I'm calling it now. So we'll talk about that during predictions. I love and hate this at the same time. Happy Harley Cameron's getting screen time, but not at the expense of Deonna Purrazzo.
What expense?
That's true.
She hasn't built a reputation in AEW for being anything except a whipping boy. And she's got Taya with her, but no, I'm sorry.
Why has Deonna Purrazzo been treated and run this way? That first 6 months and the first Tony Storm angle, and then just kind of not.
Then she hit Mercedes, and they're not going to put her in the title picture right now. It's the same 2 women they've been doing for a year. So all you have left is Mercedes. She's fought her. They didn't have good chemistry or work well. What other title is she going to go after?
That's true, huh? It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It makes me sad. But I love Harley Cameron. Yeah. It's just shitty that it's like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sucks too, because Harley's already beat Taya too. So I'm like, there's nowhere else to go with this.
That boot that Deanna hit Harley with looked like it hurt a lot.
It hurt Harley last week is where it hurt. Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
And this wasn't a bad match at all. Like, they worked pretty well together. I think they had a little bit of a start-stop at the top. I'm not sure what that was, but it was a solid match. They got their 5-6 minutes ish, right? It's not bad. It's just unfortunate to see that we've come to this point, right?
Yeah. It speaks more volumes of AEW's women's division, where you have one championship, which is wrapped up in probably the story of the year everyone's loving. Your other championship is around the waist of someone that doesn't really care to be there, and you can't get it off of her.
Right.
And you don't know how to write women's stories except around the belt. You're in Charlotte Flair territory where everyone just has to be about the belt.
It's an interesting question. I don't know we'll ever find the answer. I don't know if there are any women working creative.
I don't think so anymore.
No.
It's just Tony and the Young Bucks. And then the women have to fight for everything.
Yeah.
And which sucks because, listen, I think Tony Mariah's story is fantastic. And if the rumors are true, somebody needs to give RJ City the raise. But I think Tony Khan should let RJ City and maybe actual women writers be able to write more feuds, outside of championships. That's how we're going to thrive.
Not just writers. You need women producers who are producing this match. Like, you need people that understand the psychology around it that they don't have.
And I don't know if they do it, but I'm like, y'all literally have Serena Deeb. Like, that's one. And then you have you can bring in people, like, for reals. Anyways, again, I like the match. I just hate this for Deanna. And, I love Harley, but also now that her grand, showcasing in Australia is over, I think now we're just going to see her just fight people just to fight people, which sucks.
Yeah, no.
I was mad at myself because I was like, I didn't want to see this match because Takeshita is not losing. This was a great match. I'm mad at myself.
I loved this match. I'm sorry. I loved this match hands down.
I was like, damn.
I'm not surprised.
Orange Cassidy, love you.
They must have had, didn't they have a match? I mean, I'm going way back now. They had a match a year or two ago. I don't think it was a title. It was something else. It wasn't quite a feud, but
I think it was for the title, but the roles were switched. Orange was champion and Takeshita was challenger.
Yes, that's what it was.
I was getting
this is when Takeshita was still face, I think, at this point too.
That's why it's because I was having those flashbacks. Like, these two worked so good together. Give me this every week. This is nuts.
I can take this and run with it. We should just keep doing this.
Like, we go back to Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes 8
times.
20 times. There was also a cool moment of how strong we got to see how strong Orange Cassidy is going up and get Takeshita in some of these spots that wouldn't have worked otherwise. I thought this was great. It didn't save the episode, but it did give me all right, I'm not wrong. I know good shit when I see it. Okay, great.
Right.
Nugget of goodness in the amount of crap we've given you.
So, of course, with this match, whoever won this one would go to face Kenny at Revolution. I did not have a doubt in my mind that Takeshita would be going to face Kenny at Revolution for the International Championship, but this was still an absolute fantastic match. And depending on how the rest of his 2025 goes, Takeshita has already had some amazing matches in the last 3-4 months all over the place. And he literally is an international champion. He's gone to Canada to fight the likes of Josh Alexander and Speedball Mike Bailey. He just defended the Never Openweight Championship this past Friday down in Mexico against one of the CMLL wrestlers, which was fantastic. There was bleeding all over the place. And I'm like, I just love seeing Takeshita wrestle and how genuine he loves what he does. Because even though he was kind of a heel in Mexico this past Friday, he almost cried tears after the match because the crowd's reaction to him in Mexico was amazing. So this was an absolute fantastic match. And I am so excited for him and Kenny. That is like my most anticipated match outside of a certain other match that we'll talk about in a little bit. But that does bring us to the end of Dynamite. So now we get into the Saturday. So Collision is here. This was also really hard to watch because I did the wrong thing. I watched Elimination Chamber and then I watched this.
Oof. No. After watching Elimination Chamber, you just can't watch anything. You need to digest that before you do anything else.
Yeah, that was so I have learned my lesson and I will apply it next time. But then I watched it again the day after Elimination Chamber. I was like, okay. My thoughts and feelings weren't as crazy as I thought they were. I still have lots of questions, though. So let's get into it.
I will say I also watched it on Sunday because I wasn't going to watch it on Saturday. And I watched Mystery Wrestling afterwards. Like, yeah, that's a lot better.
I know nothing. So is this terrible? It's not terrible.
This was a weirdly put together show because usually, and Professor, you know this, some weeks Collision ends up being better than Dynamite, but it just depends on what we're doing on it. And this was not the week for it, unfortunately. I still enjoyed it, but this wasn't the week.
They knew they were up against Elimination Chamber anyways. They probably weren't going to book the best show they could.
No, they weren't. So let's dive into this. And we're already starting with some craziness and some tall. Yeah, okay. So this match was made because of the brawl that kind of happened on Dynamite.
Yep.
So after that trios match between FTR and Garcia versus the Undisputed Kingdom, this was a weird match because it ended, but Kyle O'Reilly had his foot on the rope, and Dax did not want to win that way, so they had to restart the match. And then it wasn't even 5 minutes later where Kyle and Roderick won. I was like, this was weird. I was like, what is happening? Where are we going with this? Like, what? This was weird.
They were trying to find a way to showcase that, FTR really are the good guys that want to win by the right way, which they never have before. They just want to win anyways. And Kyle is one of the two that doesn't cheat as often, even though he does. So I don't know. It's weird. Convoluted than the 7 out of 13 falls match I saw during Mystery Wrestling.
Also, Sasquatch always wins.
I kind of want to go look. That sounds pretty.
So good.
That sounds really good.
Telling you, listen, me and JVL are exchanging ideas because I wanted to get Mystery Wrestling on here because he's very passionate about it. And just like, Andrew, who's very passionate about GCW, I think if you guys have an idea, why not, right? Put it into the schedule. We just got to figure out what we want to do with it. But anyways, this was convoluted as hell.
Professor, you need to sit down and watch some Mystery Wrestling. I will sit down.
It's so much fun.
So good.
Sure. All right. Is it it's a YouTube promotion?
But
It's on Twitch.
It's Evil Uno's promotion in Canada.
In Canada, it's basically the comedy wrestling, like everything's comedy wrestling.
They still get some great people, like Dalton Castle was there at one point.
Is that where Dalton is now? Where's Dalton?
No, he's still out on injury.
But like Gabe Kidd was just there. They had
Gabe had me laughing so hard.
All right, cool. All right,
so yes,
I'll go.
I'm getting the Patreon. I'm gonna pay for it so I can get all the back things, and I'm gonna send you the link because it's
Thunder Rosa was there.
Right.
Josh
Sweet.
Alexander,
like
Jordan Grace. We literally had British star Michael Oku there as well, which was crazy to watch. Like it's so good.
When you watch a tag match where Sasquatch and a guy who is purported to be a conspiracy theorist who thinks birds aren't real win a tag match,
it's so good. Also, Psycho Mike is one of my favorite characters too because he's ridiculous. Looking at the hard cam, breaking the fourth wall,
body slam. Anyway, that's better than this. This
yes,
was
absolutely
on purpose. The logic of the match didn't make sense, and the logic of why they did it didn't make sense to the point where I thought it was another thing in the Death Rider storyline.
Wait, he wrestles in a suit?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see Collision. This looks amazing. Sorry, I'm gonna see myself out.
Yes.
All right, back on the Collision train. Yeah, because we restarted it, and Undisputed Kingdom win. Cool. Willie Mack deserves more.
Oh my God, they buried Willie Mack so hard in this.
They're like, it's March 1st, Black History Month is over. Yeah. Willie Mack, this was a hate crime. And I'm like, in the hometown, in the Bay Area, in California, like, really?
Yeah.
That's rude.
Willie, he got a good payday to be up there and be whacked in the face by a tweener Yuta.
So we could have just left it as it is, but Moxie's like, Wheeler, I need you to finish the job. Don't be a disappointment. And then Wheeler hit him with the case. So I was like, hey, crime. Anyways.
Full on.
Mox, I love you, but you are muy though for putting your faith into Wheeler because he is going to be taken out this week. Like, let's be all the way real.
Is he? Switch sides.
Now, if he switched sides, I would be interested. But because of the lack of story we got with the Death Riders, my hope for that is very low.
I understand.
The bar is very low. So anything above that would be amazing.
Tweener Yuta. Time for
tweener. He's a tweener. Anyways, moving on. Now, this is how you do the cup throw. You go, Billy. She got her revenge.
Is that like a beer? What'd she throw on her?
I don't know, but I loved it. It was more compelling than Dynamite.
Wow. Yeah, the golden color of that is a little disturbing.
Yeah, that's oddly specific.
Billy's like, you know what, Mercedes? Piss off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mercedes
I'm not going to get
back,
demonetized. There's a lot of things to say.
Golden showers. Anyways, we're far enough in. I don't care.
Not gonna yuck any yums on there. People enjoy that. Enjoy that.
So Billy Stark, love you for it. I don't know. It's crazy because it's gonna be Mercedes and Momo at Revolution, but I'm like, are y'all building Billy and Mercedes? I'm like, This is weird. Obviously, it probably won't be on ROH, but you
never know.
It's getting kind of convoluted that Billy's up here and then she's still in the middle of this weird will they, won't they, this breakup storyline with her and Athena, which should have culminated in Billy taking the title from her at Final Battle, but that's neither here nor there.
Every time we see Billy, but that's just not worth it to Billy. Billy is so much better than that. She is much more talented. And hey, little new blood in the AEW women's locker room. Sure, I'd love it. She would kick ass up there.
Yeah, but we know what her trajectory is going to be, not being utilized right. Anyways, you are single-handedly carrying this women's division on your back.
I saw this photo and went, what in the hell? This is probably match of the night. Let's just
the promo.
And this is where Tony confirms that her and Mariah's match at Revolution is a Falls Count match.
Yep.
So I'm like, they about to destroy each other. Please let them fight backstage, fight in the audience. Make it an unofficial Stadium Stampede match and just let them fight everywhere. I want them. You know what would be hilarious if, through the power of editing, somehow they go backstage and then they end up showing up on the set where Ben Makowitz talks about the Turner Classic Movies and
yes,
Ben's there and then Mariah and Tony are just fighting in the background and then they go off frame and then come back to the stadium. Like you could take that idea and just give me credit and I would not be mad about it.
No.
But again, now it's Falls Count anywhere for this Hollywood ending match. Cannot wait. Swerve beats Clark Connors, which, I figured he would.
More Clark Connors.
Clark is so much better than what we got, but I digress.
Phil Connors?
Not Phil Connors, Clark Connors.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was like, this is a New Japan star and this is what we're doing. Okay, it's fine. Whatever.
They need to build him back up with local talent, which is Clark Connors.
Whatever. I mean, they gotta win.
Yeah, but I don't understand the pairing. I still don't like this.
I don't get it either. Lee Moriarty don't need to be here, honestly. Like, just have Shane Taylor in the infantry. Boys, we will talk about you a little bit later. We got 15 minutes, and I actually really like this.
They have better chemistry in this than the three-way.
Yeah, exactly. The one-on-one chemistry was great. I thought this was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, we have the infantry and Lee Moriarty coming in to cause a DQ. And I'm like, why?
I kind of wish I could make it down to Oakland this weekend to go see this. Because they were there and all these things like Oakland. I was like, oh, I want to. Damn it.
Well, hey, because it's Collision, you probably would have also gotten some ROH tapings, which would have been great because there's some great ROH talent. Shout out to Layla Hirsch. Hopefully, you pop up somewhere else where you are appreciated and loved because she is no longer a part of AEW and ROH as her contract is now up. So hopefully, she gets utilized somewhere wherever she wants to go. Love her. She's great. Anyways, moving on. This is your 0-hour match. Moving on. These three are going to be teaming up, and we'll talk about it during our predictions.
I just don't care about them at all.
I don't either.
Care about who? The kid?
Yeah.
And his dad, Big Boom, AJ, and Big Justice.
I don't know the angle here. Why are they involved?
So, if you remember, Full Gear, QT Marshall and Big Boom AJ had a wrestling match, which I was thoroughly entertained. Then it was announced that he was going to have another match at Revolution. And so we will talk about that said match because Big Boom AJ is going to be teaming with Mark Briscoe and Orange Cassidy versus some of my all-time favorite peoples, which makes me sad that they are about to lose this match, which we'll talk about during our predictions. Queen Aminata and Julia Hart also have kind of a banger match. This was actually great. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. Queen picks up the win here, so now they're 1-1. So we need to get a rubber match in some capacity. We have Papa Brody King checking in on Julia, and then Okada comes out and attacks him from behind. By the way, that interaction during the cold opening between Okada, Brody King, and Julia Hart was funny as hell because he interrupts Julia doing the cold open, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then just Brody King barking at him, and then of course Okada calling him a bitch, which is crazy.
Bitch.
So it seems that we are building to Okada and Brody King at some capacity. So, which I'm not mad at. But yeah, I want to give Queen and Julia their flowers because that was an awesome match. Queen is just so damn good. I love her, and Julia has improved so much. And now I feel like since coming back, she's kind of shaking off the ring rust a little bit now. But damn, Queen, that headbutt was gnarly.
Yeah, it was.
So good. I loved it. Kenneth Omega. Let's talk for a minute. I love when you just get Kenny in a room by himself and just let him with his thoughts because those are some of my favorite Kenny promos that we get. And he's like, I'm not upset. I'm not angry, but Takeshita, you better be ready because I'm going to take that title from you. I'm just like, yes, Kenny, talk your shit.
I did half expect someone to like come in behind him in order to like freshen the room up, or to like, you know, put like housekeeping was coming in. He forgot to put the thing on the door to not be disturbed. Because it was just that weird lighting, just a little bit of like, why are you doing this from a hotel room? But still.
Listen, I don't care what nobody says. I love Kenny. I can't wait for the Revolution match.
Yes, but La Quinta in the background, I just didn't see that was like the right thing to do.
That was a little weird for sure. But hey, you know what? We in California, so we got to hit all the spots, which includes the La Quinta Inn. For those of you who know.
I got to go find this, I guess. Wait, what?
He looks like he's in the La Quinta Inn where 2 of the lights have burned out and housekeeping is coming to refresh the room.
It is such a crazy
If I type in Kenny Omega La Quinta, is that going to work for me?
Kenny Omega promo. It would be for Collision from this past Saturday. Just look up the AEW
YouTube channel. So,
I record Collision.
So as Professor checks that out, let's get into our main event of Collision. We have I Am the Learning Tree minus Chris Jericho taking on probably the most hoodest pairing I've ever think. Bandito and Powerhouse Hobbs, who is in his home. See what I mean, Professor?
What is this like?
You can't unsee it.
It looks like he's about to drop some sort of heavy expose, right? I brought you here to tell you. Over the next 5
This is the 2020
episodes.
interview.
I'm going.
Yeah, that place looks shady. The walls are dirty.
I told you, it's a La Quinta Inn.
They're in California. If you know, you know.
That's almost that's rough.
It's crazy.
I do have to ask, because I didn't see all of Collision. Is Brian Keith still pregnant after the match before, or is he still?
I am happy to report he had beautiful twins. So that is why he was medically cleared to be in this match.
It was in a. I'm not going to say it. Go ahead, keep going.
So this was our main event, Powerhouse Hobbs and Bandito versus the Learning Tree minus Chris Jericho. I actually really like this match. And you know what? I would not be upset if you wanted to pair up Bandito and Powerhouse Hobbs more often down the line. I think they make a fun team.
I'm still waiting for more matches just between Powerhouse Hobbs and, Mr. Lexi Nair. I think it would be perfect.
Yo, their street fight for last week was awesome to watch. Me and Professor talked about it, and we loved it. So
that was quite good.
So this was also another fun match. Hobbs and Bandito win. I was like, yes, the good guys win. So that's good. And that brings us to the end of Ola Lita Ensemble. But we are not done. We've gotten through Dynamite and Collision. We got one more thing to do, though. Powerhouse. Listen, if I could interview Powerhouse Hobbs, I would actually legit die happy.
I feel like Powerhouse would sit down for a local like us. Like some of these folks, you just kind of, I feel like he would.
He's so great. I love him. But anyways.
With our luck, he definitely could be, just Mikey, just show up, see what happens.
For reals. Formerly known Allie, a.k.a. the Bunny, if you want to be on here. I mean,
she
why
was
not?
Just close by to me. She was up here in Gatineau, Quebec. I mean, come on.
It's crazy. Alrighty. So that
horror podcast with the professor.
Yes. Listen, we're trying to work on something here. Me and Minnie are not going to stop. Get a cameo from Shotzi to give to the professor.
I mean, she's not going to remember me, but that'd be wild. Hi, we were in a horror film in a ghetto. Do you remember 8 years ago?
In the ghetto. Anyways, so that takes care of Dynamite and Collision, but we got one more thing to do. So enjoy this 10-second dance break, and then we will get into our AEW Revolution predictions. So don't go far.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Here we go.
So, I love a good transition. So now we got one more thing we got to do. And just like Professor will know this, but just like we did for the Elimination Chamber predictions, we going to do this live. So that way, I'll talk about it. And then we can fill in our picks live on the air so they are ready to go. So I am going to send this out to the team in the group chat. So while I do that, currently we have
I'm going to get hosed, man. I'm so behind in my picks.
John, I'm losing this year. Okay, I have not had a good year so far for picks.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, you and I might be.
I took 3 months off, and I'm still in last.
JBL was missing. Didn't do any picks for some shows while he was gone, so that kind of puts him in last place.
Yeah, John and John star in Dueling Bottoms.
I prefer the power type.
It's going to be really weird to have you two be in wrestling singlets for a week of reviews.
This is probably what's going to happen.
But I can't necessarily be.
You're totally going to say it.
No, I'm going to. Listen, we're either going to put you in a wrestling singlet, or for Professor, we're going to make him look like Matt and Jeff Hardy, but get a mesh tank top and
That's
everything.
right. We're talking about that. Go full 1999 mesh tank top. Yep.
Looking like you walked out Hot Topic.
Cool jeans are worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars on eBay.
They are.
Why?
They're back.
It is going to be crazy.
But anyway, sorry.
All right. So let's get into this. So we have 1 0-hour match and 8 on the main card so far. So we're going to go in the order of the slideshow, and then we are going to make our picks. So we're going to start with our 0-hour match. So 0 hour, at least right now, has 1 match. We'll probably get like 15 more the day of. But we have Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Big Boom AJ taking on the team of Johnny TV and MXM Collection.
Who should win?
They won't. I want them to win, but they won't. I'm going with Team Orange over here because, yeah.
Sadly, the meme is going to win.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. That's tough because I really like Johnny TV and MXM. Really funny to watch.
MXM is our outro for this show. Like, they're so entertaining.
Yeah.
And they currently have stolen Sammy Guevara's tag team title from ROH, which is also kind of a weird storyline going on right now.
Oh my God.
It's weird.
They're ROH talent, so there you go.
Yeah. So again, we'll probably get like 15 more matches, but this is the only one that's going to count for our predictions because who knows when or what we're going to get. So now let's get to the main card. So the way I organized this is I started with non-title matches first, then work our way up to, in my opinion, the title matches of great importance, I guess I don't know if that's the correct term, but yeah. So we go to our first match on the main card, which is a singles match, which is a AEW World Title #1 contenders match, which is going to be Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland. Winner gets a future AEW World Title match against either Mox or Cope, depending on who wins that one. I'm gonna go with Trevor, you guys. Ricochet, I think, is winning this one or who knows. Honestly, it could go either way, but because Nana's telling Swerve he needs to get it together, otherwise he gonna bounce. I don't know if it's this match, but I feel that Nana is going to probably turn on Swerve if he can't get it together. So I'm gonna go with Trevor on this one.
I want to go Trev. I think I'm gonna go, but I keep thinking if they were smart about it, they'd have Swerve win this one and get to a rubber match. But I think it's gonna be Trev.
I think it's Trev the Vampire. But I also think, and we're looking at this through a lens of 2025 Elimination Chamber and like trying to get the headlines back a little bit. So I think this could potentially be the Nana betrays Swerve, Trevor takes the win. It could happen this soon. Like they got to do something now to try and get any kind of headline, anything, right? I hope they don't overdo it because that's what Tony Khan tends to do is be like, let's pull the trigger on everything. And then it turns into this mess.
Big muddied mess.
What do you say? The man with a cocaine addiction has problems, editing stuff he's got?
A billionaire with a cocaine addiction that runs a football team? Yeah, I have a feeling he doesn't know how narrative works. I think it's Trevor the Vampire.
All right, so we all have gone with Trevor the Vampire in this one. So let's go to our next singles match. This one with an actual official graphic. So this is MJF versus Hangman Aggro Page.
Still looks like he smelled a fart.
Look at all the sequins coming out from said.
I don't know, you guys. I have to flip a coin on this one because I can make a case for MJF and I feel like Hangman kind of needs to win this one, especially if we're going to solidify him back as a babyface. Yeah, you know what?
Craig.
That is true. You know what? I'm going to go with Hangman Aggro Page.
I think it's MJF shenanigans. I think something's wrong.
Nice. Love that.
I think it's MJF with shenanigans. I don't know what. I think it's something weird. I think it's a strong match. I think they do really well for each other. I think if MJF wins, we have a reason to see more angry Hangman. If Hangman just crushes MJF, what else does he have to do right now?
True. It's very true.
Alrighty, JVO, who you got for this one?
I said Angry Man Page.
Okay, cool. So 2-1. Great. Okay, so now last single non-title match, but boy howdy, I want these two to kid brutalize each other. Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. This is the rubber match. Will got the first one. No, Kyle got the first win. Will got the win in Grand Slam Australia. I'm going with Ospreay to win the feud. But man, I'm excited for this match. I hope these two bring it.
I think
it's Ospreay.
This might be match of the night, but yes, Ospreay wins.
How is this not? They're gonna do crazy shit. Well, again, like I said, like now it's sort of we got to get the headlines back. Okay, Ospreay and Fletcher, go go try not to die for 20 minutes.
Put this in the middle of the card, please. Don't open up the show. Don't put it towards the end. Put it in the middle.
You don't want this as the second to last match?
No, because if Kenny and Takeshita go on before that, these boys are going to have to fight for that. Space it out, because this one, and then, honestly, Kenny and Takeshita are probably like my two hypest matches. Well, and then Mariah and Tony, but
I want Mariah and Tony to end the night. I want
me
that
too.
Main event.
It's the Hollywood ending. Let the main event.
If it doesn't, something's gone horribly, horribly wrong, right?
Like Tony Khan booking things. Anyways, so I have Ospreay. I'm pretty sure we all have Ospreay for this one.
We do.
Cool. All right, now let's get into the championship matches. First one, AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Hurt defending against the Outriders. In a perfect world, I would love the Outriders, but there's no way that Hurt Syndicate is losing these things.
I mean, part of me wants that to happen.
I want it to happen too, but it's not right now.
It'd make a great story. No, I honestly see like Cedric Alexander is making his debut and saving the titles for them.
Yeah. I think Hurt Syndicate holds on to them because I think we still go through the murder machines and then figure out what we do after that. So I love you, Outrunners, but you are not going to win. But I am okay with this kind of squash match because I think the Outrunners do beautiful whether they win or lose. I love them so much. And we haven't gotten to a point where I get tired of them losing yet. Anyways, so predictable, but one that I'm okay with. Predictable and one that I am not okay with. This is a disservice to Momo Watanabe because we know she can go, but Mercedes is winning this one.
And it makes me other championship she holds on to. I could say Momo would have a better chance, but it's the TBS championship.
Yeah.
I think they're going to let Mercedes hang on to that championship until she gets over, which might be a long time.
Until Jamie Hayter takes it from her.
Wolf.
Tony, you need to fix this visa issue for Jamie. That's why she's chilling in the UK right now, because visa issues.
Like what? Like
work visa.
She didn't want to work for MasterCharge.
I'm much more of a Discover person myself.
Oh, that explains a lot about you, so you're not taken in most places.
Yes. So we all pick Mercedes, which is very sad to say, because I would love to see Momo just... Now, had this been for the New Japan title, then it would be like...
Momo had a chance.
Momo had a chance, but she does not.
No.
Because for the TBS.
If Mercedes is feeling it, it's going to be a fun match to watch.
I was like, Mercedes, we have seen you fight other girls in New Japan, and you have done pretty good with them. Don't disappoint me in this one.
She will.
Anyways, banger. I am so ready for this match.
Again, they both farted.
Yes, they
I'm thinking the same.
So we have for the AEW International Championship, Nosuke Takeshita versus the challenger Kenny Omega. I love Kenny. I think this match is going to slap. I have Takeshita retaining here. I don't think Takeshita is losing this because I still think we're getting Kenny and Okada at Y'all in Texas.
So here's what I'm saying, because they're talking about combining the international and the Triple C Cup championships together. Omega wins it so that he combines the belts when he beats Okada.
That could also be a thing.
That's interesting.
So I'm going Kenny in this one.
I'm gonna go with Kenny just because I think it gives the Don Fallis family a little bit more to do storytelling wise. I wouldn't be surprised to have him retain, but I'm gonna go Kenny as well.
Hey, it might be interesting. You can either have all of the members of the family lose in this pay-per-view, or you can go 1-1. So we'll see what happens with all of this. But I still think this is one of the steel cage and then the women's title match between Mariah and Tony are like my top 3 matches I'm most anticipated for, because the last time these two threw down, it was amazing. So I cannot wait. Speaking of which, so for the AEW Women's World Championship, remember, this is a falls count anywhere match.
Well, it's also a no holds barred match.
It's also this is a required question match on our form.
I'll be like, nobody wins. So this is Timeless Toni Storm defending her title against Mariah May. I think Toni retains, and I think this is the finality to this story. Is fantastic. Honestly, I can make a case to go either or, but I think Toni is retaining here for me. But ultimately, this is the final chapter, and I think these two head into different directions after this, for sure.
I see Toni retaining. I see a weird filmed promo in the next couple weeks after that with Mariah May being rebuilt and made into like a Darth Vader-esque character. I don't know.
She's going to lose a hand?
Yes.
I hate you. She wakes up in the hospital. Who won the match? Tony won. I think it's Tony. I think I'm not saying this has run its course, but I think we're closer to the end than we are to the beginning. I hope it never ends. I want to see Tony Timeless Storm forever, but we'll get there.
I think with this feud, I think we've run its course, but they can always come back and fight again down the line. But I think the current chapter, I think, is coming to its finality, and then we can get a sequel a year or two down the line. Let them fight other people for a little bit, have them go in different directions, and then bring them back if you want into like a year and a half, 2 years. So, but for this venture and this final chapter, for chapter 1 of this story, I got Tony. We all got Tony retaining, which leads us into our final match. And unfortunately, what probably is going to main event. I want this match between Tony and Mariah to main event, but knowing AEW booking, this will probably be our main event. It is what it is. The AEW World Championship, Moxley defending the title against the rated R superstar Cope. So, funny enough, I have Cope winning this one, but not for the reasons that you might think. I think Cope wins, and then this is where Christian cashes in.
I could see that.
Then you get Cope and Christian for a little bit, and then when Darby survives Mount Everest, he comes back, and then Christian versus Darby. That's in my little head. But I have Cope winning this one, but he ain't gonna hold that thing for long.
I honestly forget what I put in the form because I didn't care about this match at all, but I think I put down Cope.
Which is also very fair too, because nobody cares about this match. I don't.
It's a shame because I absolutely should care about this match. If you had told me this match existed 2 years ago, I would have lost my mind.
Yeah, but the build has not been anything for that type of match that it is. Is it going to be a decently worked match? Hell yeah. Is it going to be bloodier than we think it is? Yes, it is. But yeah, I think you're right with that, Mikey, though, too. I think Christian's cashing in.
Yeah, this is a pick'em for me, too. I'll go Cope just because.
Which, again, this is exactly why Tony and Mariah should main event.
Yep.
Let this be the semi-main event, and then you have Mariah and Tony tear the roof off the place and main event the pay-per-view.
Let this open the show.
Honestly, I would be okay if this opened the show.
0 Hour, John Moxley and Cope.
Gosh, I can't even imagine the amount of 0 Hour matches we're probably going to get knowing Tony. So, but that brings us to the end of our Revolution predictions. Boys submitted everything. So now they are official record. And then this Sunday, we will find out.
I'm going to get hosed.
Done. I have 3 months worth of zeros. Doesn't matter whatsoever.
If I remember right, I was way fucked. I had no chance.
So, okay. I don't have the exact numbers, but let me paint a picture of everything. So, first, the good news. I am guaranteed to win the TNA League because Andrew is no longer reviewing, so he is not part of the TNA League, and Will has also been hosed with his predictions. So, watching Will be in a wrestling singlet might actually be kind of funny to watch. For AEW, I was in last. I am still holding first position, but not for very long, which sucks that Adolfo's no longer here because he was very close, but now he's not doing AEW. So, Professor, that technically puts you in second, and John, you are currently in last. You'll probably stay in last when we get... So, once Dynasty is over, because that's when we started predictions last year, from Dynasty to Dynasty. So by the end of Dynasty, I will get your size and we will get you a wrestling singlet to figure it out. So I might be walking away with 2 championships. However, he is way too close to call. Like, it is like a point difference between Professor, myself, and Minnie. Minnie has been hosing us. Because the last 3 pay-per-views,
wow.
The last 3 pay-per-views, Minnie has been clean sweeping. But Elimination Chamber kind of put me back into the potential to be in first because I was the only one who picked Kevin, and I ended with the perfect record of 5-0 at Chamber. So, but man, it's getting close. I cannot believe we are almost at the end of our first year predictions league because it comes to an end. TNA, once Rebellion happens, we will be finished with that season, WrestleMania for WWE and Dynasty for AEW. But speaking of predictions, let us know in the comments below who you think is walking out winners for AEW Revolution, or better yet, you could tell us live in our chat because this Sunday we will be doing a live watch along for AEW Revolution. So I am super excited. I will be there, hopefully, depending on how things work. I would love to see my other 2 co-hosts here, and maybe I can coax Adolfo into maybe joining. So I'll talk to him this week and see what we can work out because we're watching MLW this Saturday, which you can also catch live. But yeah, so I'm excited. This is one of the big 4 pay-per-views for AEW, and I'm excited to do a watch along. It's been a hot minute since we've done one, and I cannot wait. It's gonna be fun. But that's gonna be it for us here at Ensemble. So if you want more wrestling goodness, we still got a bunch of stuff happening this week. Tomorrow you get a double dose of NXT and CMLL. TNA, it will be myself and a mystery host. So we will be covering TNA as we inch closer to their pay-per-view next Friday, which is Sacrifice. And then MLW, Intimidation Games, the last show before Battle Riot in April on Saturday, and then Sunday, WWE, and the live watch along for AEW Revolution. So all of a sudden, we're now in French. But anyways, from my trio here, which I'm so happy that we had back for this episode, from the trio,
it has been so long.
Yes, and we'll talk a little afterwards too for a little bit, but from us here and the rest of the DC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you for more wrestling goodness this week, but until then, adios. MXM, play us out.
Let's get out of here. Johnny TV style.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.